Hello all, warm welcome to our 64th review. So today's session is organized by IRTT Alumni Association, Readers Review Forum and American Tamil Media. Today we are going to see the book, The Premonition, written by Michael Lewis. So this is going to be reviewed by Devendra Babu, friend of our KL 92 batch. And this is the first time we are doing a book in English language. So for the interest of others, I'll just repeat this in the Tamil language and then I'll invite KL to introduce our Mr. Devendra Babu. Okay. அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். ஐஆர்டிடி பயின்றோர் சங்க வாசகர் வட்டமும் அமெரிக்க தமிழ் வானொலியும் இணைந்து வழங்கும் 64வது புத்தக திறனாய்வுக்கு உங்களை வரவேற்கிறோம். இன்றைய சிறப்பு திறனாய்வு நாம் திறனாய்வு செய்ய இருக்கும் புத்தகம் த ப்ரீமோனிஷன், எழுதியவர் மைக்கேல் லெவிஸ். இந்த புத்தகத்தை நமது நண்பர் தேவேந்திர பாபு அவர்கள் அமெரிக்காவிலிருந்து திறனாய்வு செய்திருக்கிறார். அவர் நம்மளுடைய கனகலட்சுமி அவர்களுடைய நண்பர். அவரை பற்றி அறிமுகம் செய்ய கனகலட்சுமி அவர்களை அன்புடன் அழைக்கிறேன். கனகலட்சுமி, ஓகே.
வணக்கம் அனைவருக்கும். ஓகே ஓகே அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். நம்ம இது நிறைய டைம் ஆங்கில புத்தகங்கள் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். சூர்யாவும் ஆங்கில புத்தகம் எல்லாம் பண்ணினா கொஞ்சம் அவன் தமிழ்ல பேசுவான். ஸோ பாபுக்கு டோட்டலி ஆங்கிலத்துல தான் பேச போறாங்க. பாபு எனக்கு ஒரு 25-30 இயர்ஸா ஃப்ரெண்டு. அவங்க ரமேஷ்க்கு ரூம்மேட்டா இருந்தாங்க. அவங்க நான்லாம் கல்யாணம் ஆகி வரதுக்கு முன்னாடி நிறைய படிப்பாங்க. படிக்கிறது ரொம்ப பிடிச்சது அவங்களுக்கு. ரீடர்ஸ் ஃபாரம்க்கு ஆப்டான பர்சன். எக்ஸப்ட் தமிழ்ல படிக்க மாட்டாங்க. ஆனா ஹீ ஸ்டடிட் தமிழ் சுஜாதாவோட புத்தகங்கள் translated into Telugu. So he studied that book as well. And he's actually very much interested. Normally he talks to us. He talk to us like any book he reads. The good quality of him is he can make the book so simple to you. Even after like it's a big book or like big concept, after he reads and explains to you, it's going to be so simple for you. You won't even feel that, oh wow, that book is this simple like that. So we used to speak, discuss a lot about Ramayana, Mahabharata, all that like ancient stories and stuff. We used to drive long whenever possible. Like one of the weddings we went, Babu was like explaining to us a story, and like it was very interesting when he talks. Like when he talks, we all keep silent because we want to just hear him. We don't want to even interfere or like interrupt anywhere. Like we just let him speak. So, and he is living in California with his wife and 2 beautiful children, smart children. And like one of the friends forever for us. And Ramesh loves him so much and we all love him. Thank you for, he studied, you must have seen IIT Kharagpur, and he has been like in the software industry for a long time. And Ramesh and himself worked in the same company initially. So that's how they knew each other. And it's very fun to have Babu in this quorum. Thank you, Babu. And thank you.
May I speak?
Yeah, you can speak.
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. Lakshmi and Ramesh are my family friends, very dear to my heart. And I see that my friend Raman also joined. Welcome you all. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I appreciate that you love books so much that you have a forum to discuss books. I really like that very much. I will go ahead and share my screen.
Yeah.
Please let me know if you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see, sir. Yes.
Very good. Is my screen in such a way that you're able to see this slide that I am showing, and is my image in one corner of the screen? Okay, very good. So let me introduce this book. This book is called Premonition, written by Michael Lewis. Michael Lewis. So Premonition. The title is Premonition, a pandemic story. So it's about the coronavirus that just happened. That happened in 2020, and now we are in 2024 February. And this is an important book. Some of the books that we need to worth reading more than once. So I will go ahead and present the book to you so that now you're able to follow along. Let me see. Okay, so what is a premonition? A premonition is a word that means that an advance warning or a feeling that something is going to happen, and it's usually something bad. So the book talks about, we had some warnings and there were some intelligent people who are following it, but still, are we successful in preventing it? Or were we as successful as we wanted to be? That's the question. So now we understand what is the meaning of the word premonition. The book is divided into few parts about the people that are there in the book, what happened. So this is not a fiction book. It's a non-fiction book, writing about the things that happened around us. And it is valuable to us because it is explaining what is happening around us in a way that we can all relate to and we can all understand. We all of us have one view of life, that is, we are following the news, we are following some stories, but we are not following everything. So it helps us to read some books which also inform us of what is happening around us in a more in-depth manner than what we can get out of newspapers. So I wanted to answer the question also about why we should read this book. So one of the things I wanted to mention is that what is the point of this book? So I wanted to make sure that you can read my slide. What is the point of this book? The answer is that we had warnings, we had a premonition, but we did not get ready for what was happening. I want to be able to see this. Okay, we did not get ready for the pandemic as much as we would like to get ready. So that is I see that there is a bar that is there in the middle. So I'm not able to get rid of it. So I'll just exit out of the slideshow so that I'll be able to present this slide better.
We have no problem seeing properly. It is going on, Babu.
Okay, for me, there is a band that is there in the middle. That is.
You can minimize that, sir. I think you can minimize that. Even I was getting, I minimized that.
Oh, how do I minimize it?
There will be one minus symbol, right?
Minus symbol. Okay, let me see.
Just click on that and.
Okay, there is a more that is there, and I'm looking for a minus symbol. I'm not able to find it. So I'll just exit out of that.
Yeah. Okay, that is.
Out of the screen, and then I will be able to see that. Okay, so I'm able to. I'm not able to get rid of this band in the middle. There is a black band that belongs to. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm able to move it now. Okay, good. So at least I'm able to move forward. Okay, so what is the point of the book? Here is the answer for that. We had the warnings, we had a premonition, but we did not get ready for the great pandemic of 2020, and it cost us dearly. So the point that he makes in the book is that we had the resources, but we could not get ready. We could not prevent the number of deaths that we could have prevented. So one of the things that he talks about, so I'm switching between my slides and the slides that I wanted to share with you, right? So in this two things I wanted to mention. One is that what is a premonition? A premonition means something bad is going to happen. And what is a pandemic? Pandemic means, pan means throughout the world, and then demic means something bad that is going to a disease, right? So pandemic is a disease that is affecting the entire world. And all of us are part of it. All of us had a chance to prevent it, but we could have prevented more number of deaths than what actually happened. So the question is, it is not just a number that is 100 people have died or 200 people have died or 10,000 people have died. That's not the question. The question is the hole that is left by a single death of a person. Even if we can prevent a single death of a person, that is valuable to us. If that, and particularly if that death is of a child in a family, imagine how much the child, how much the family would be affected by the death of a child. And if that child died because of coronavirus, how much, what a hole that is left in the family and what a hole that is left in the society. Because there is a saying that every child belongs to the society around them, because it takes a village to raise a child. A child is a gift from God. And if we lose a child, there is a hole that can never be completed, that can never be filled. So the question is, can we prevent the deaths of people? With a family member, right? Whether it's a child, whether it's a wife, whether it's a father, whether it is an employee in a company, a death that can be prevented, we should provide all resources to be able to prevent that death. Because life itself is valuable. We don't have the power to create life. At least we can prevent the death from happening. So the question is, could we have done something better? What is our history? What is the record that shows that could we have done something better? That is the question the author asks. So the reason to read the book is this. So one thing I mentioned, why is this book worth our time? What is the point of the book? Is that we had warnings, we had a premonition, but we did not get ready for the great pandemic of 2020, and it costed dearly. When we say cost is dearly, we mean in terms of losing people in our lives. That is the cost, not the cost in terms of money, or not the cost in terms of lost opportunity, or not the cost in any other term, but losing a family member, losing a friend, losing somebody that belongs to us, that belongs to our society. And when we say, it may feel that is different to us. It may feel that, we are losing a person who may not be directly connected to us. But in one way, we are all brothers and sisters. My great-grandmother is the sister of your great-grandmother. That is what a black person told me in America. That is, if a person is in Africa, or in South America, or in Pakistan, or in anywhere else, go back a few generations, and that person's great-grandmother is a sister of your great-grandmother. So how can we say that a person who is Chinese or a person who is different from us is not our sister? They are our sisters and brothers. So it matters to us, whether we are Americans, whether we are Indians, whether we are South Americans, or whoever we are, it matters to us. If we can prevent the death of one person, we have prevented the death of our own brother and sister. And that is the point of the book. Okay, and then why is the book worth our time? There are three main reasons for this. Number one is the book is a masterclass in storytelling. How to tell a story of what just happened and what is happening around us. It matters to us in a way that we can tell the story so that it can change the heart of the people. It can not in terms of a debate or a discussion or a point of theory, but if we can tell the story in personal terms, that can change the heart of the people and motivate people to take action. That's number one. Number two is the book is a reminder that one person in the right place at the right time can make a difference. So therefore, I don't want anybody to feel that, oh, I'm just an employee, I'm just a small person, what can I do? I cannot make. No, I want each and every person to feel empowered. You may be doing the lowest part of work. You may be, but still that makes a difference. You can change the world. We all can change the world by doing whatever we are doing properly. We may not know it, but we may not know, all I'm doing is just driving a child to a school. All I am doing is just cleaning a bathroom. All I am doing is just doing a small cooking. How is that changing the world? It does change the world, because the child that you are taking to a school, the child that you are helping in the society, is the one that is going to change the world. So directly and indirectly, each and every action that we are doing is improving the world. It matters to us. Therefore, the point is, one person in the right time at the right place can make a difference. And therefore, everybody should feel empowered, even if no matter which position we are in. Look, even we may be of different caste, we may be of different religion, we may be of different community, we may be of different. Every person should feel a part of the mainstream. Every person should feel empowered. And the third point is, this book is a stark reminder that we were not ready, and it raises the question, will we be ready next time? Because this is not the end of the time that a catastrophe is going to happen. This is not the end of the time that a pandemic will happen. Will we be ready for the next pandemic? That's the question. That is why this book is important. What happened? We take a post-mortem of what happened. What if some disease killed us? We will study it. How did the disease kill us? What were the effects? And then what can we do to prevent it next time? Like a post-mortem. So these are the 3 points of the book. Next, now going back, I will quickly go through the slides. I may not be able to get through the complete slides, but let's see what we can get through. So I went through what is the premonition. I went through that, pandemic is pan means all, demic means people. So all people, something that affects all people. So the book is divided into several parts, and I'm going through the people, the events, understanding the pandemic, and the response. Who are the people? These are the key players in the book. The way the book explains is that all these people that you see the names of, they are real people. We can see their photos, we can follow them, what they are doing right now. The reason we are talking about this book is because this is a sample. There are similar people that are there in every country that are doing wonderful work. There are people who are following the viruses. There are people who are following the latest innovations in firefighting. There are people who are following latest innovations in flooding and how we can prevent floods and how we can prevent deaths from floods. Different people are interested in different things, and there may be a solution that we can learn from something that is completely not related to us. The reason we are talking about these different people is because it's not just specific to a particular country or a particular group of people. I know that there are wonderful people, there are excellent people who are doing excellent work in every village, in every city, in India and in South America and in Japan and everywhere. So look around you and find out good people who are doing good work, like good doctors and engineers and all these people who are trying to help the society, and go and help them however you can. So one of the main players in this book is Dr. Charity Dean. She is the public health officer. I will show you her photo. And these are all the other people. So it starts with a 13-year-old girl. Her name is Laura Glass. And 13-year-old girl asks a question. She was just curious. In a middle school girl, 13-year-old. My son is 12 years old. He is in 6th grade. So 13-year-old girl will be in 7th grade. A 7th grade girl asks a question saying that, what happens if there is a disease? And this was like few years before 2020 when the coronavirus happened, right? Few years before, she asked a question. What happens if there is a disease for which we do not have a vaccination? How do we prevent death? How do we stop the spread of the disease? That's a question that is asked by a 13-year-old girl. And her father, Bob Glass, he encourages her to write a scientific paper about it, and she writes a paper. Here is the paper she wrote. Laura Glass, 13-year-old girl from Albuquerque. This is a scientific paper. We can look up this paper. Targeted social distance designed for pandemic influenza, November 2006. This is a paper that she wrote. She asked a question. It's a scientific paper. And this paper is the foundation because of which we were made a policy, a government policy was made that when we do not have a virus, when we do not have a vaccination to stop a virus, to stop the spread of a disease, it should be 6 feet distance. Not 8 feet, not 10 feet, not 2 feet. Exactly 6 feet. She calculated it and she showed it with examples. How do we flatten the curve? Increasing healthcare capacity. How do we flatten it? So she shows it with example. She showed it with different things. This a 13-year-old girl is doing. So what the lesson that we can take from it is that let us encourage our children to ask questions. Ask questions that we cannot answer. But at least encourage them to ask questions. We may be able, there may be 4 different answers, but at least encourage asking questions. She was asking this question and her father encouraged her and she made a paper of it, which was actually implemented throughout the world, saying that keep 6 feet distance and you can spread the disease, you can stop the disease from spreading, flattening the curve. Okay. This story started in 2005 when President Bush was there. He had grown concerned about the preparedness for a pandemic after anthrax attacks and a bird flu. So the story talks about few years that happened before 2020, what happened during 2020, and what happened after 2020. And in 2005, so after 2001, there was 9/11 attacks, right? September 11 attacks. So at that time, there were concerns that there may be threat. How are we, as a country, how are we prepared to protect the people? Okay, and then he was worried. He read a book during his vacation called The Great Influenza. And then he asked a question saying that how are we prepared for a pandemic after the anthrax attack? Anthrax attacks were there and bird flu outbreak were there. So he called for action in 2005 in a speech at the National Institute of Health. And he read this book called The Great Influenza, Lessons from the Past, written by John M. Barry. This is the book he read in his vacation. And then he came back from the vacation and started asking questions, saying that, how are we prepared? So the roots of preparedness, the roots of planning started in 2005. What lessons can we learn? So he goes through, in this book, he goes through how the influenza was there, how the one of the biggest killers in the world, how many people died, how it was implemented in New Jersey, and so on. New Jersey and then New York and Pennsylvania, and all the, like, how American society dealt with that influenza pandemic that happened earlier, and what lessons can we take from that. So he asked a question. He requested, one of the persons who was working in White House was Rajiv Venkaya. So Rajiv Venkaya, who was working in the White House, he was asked to come up with a plan. And Rajiv Venkaya was visiting his parents. So he wrote a plan thinking that if there was a pandemic, if there is a disease that we cannot control, how can we respond to it? He wrote a plan in his parents' basement when he was there visiting his parents for a vacation. So this is Rajiv Venkaya. And there are other people like Carter Mesher and Richard Hatchett. Richard Hatchett is the person who is the CEO of CEPI, Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness and Innovations, London. He had access to millions of dollars. So instantly he made a decision and allocated $30 million, the first person to allocate $30 million to start doing research, saying that let's find out whatever we can, how quickly can we find out a vaccination to stop this disease. He was the first person who allocated in one, like, he didn't take more than 5 minutes to make a decision and allocated $30 million and then kept pouring money. That is the reason why we were able to develop a vaccination so quickly, because people like Richard Hatchett. So there are these few people that he lists who actually made a difference. How were we able to develop a vaccination in such a short period of time, go through the testing, make sure that it is working, and then give to the entire world? She is Dr. Charity Dean, the public health expert. She is the one who took it personally, saying that I don't want a single person to die in my county. She is the public health expert. She is there today in California. At that time, she was the public health officer in Santa Barbara County. And she said that she dealt with 3 major illnesses. Like in the story, she talks about, there's the tuberculosis that happened not only in the lungs, but it spreads to the brain. and she was worried that tuberculosis will spread to the entire society. So she wanted to actually go and get a sample from the body, and she was not getting any help from anybody. So finally she said, like, I want a sample from this body. And then on a Saturday morning, she went there, and then there were other people who were there, but she was not getting any help. She said that I will go do it myself. I will go it alone. And then she went there. She asked the body to be brought out, and she said, I want to do autopsy and then take a lung sample of this body to know whether the tuberculosis disease is spreading. There was no help. There was nobody available. And what she said is there something like, is there a knife or something that I can cut? Because it's a dead body. I need to take a sample. They said there is only garden shears available. The garden, the garden scissors, like the big ones that with which we cut the plants, like with which we cut the branches of a tree. She said, okay, fine, give that to me. She takes it, and there are this strong men who are very scared, who don't even want to go near the dead body, and they're covering their nose, and they're like, he describes saying that the strong men, this powerful men, they're turning into jellies in front of a dead body. She goes there, she opens up the zipper that is covering the dead body, takes the garden shears, cuts the rib cage, takes out the sample, puts it in a bucket, and drives off. She says she takes it personally. She says that I don't want a single person to die. That's the story in tuberculosis, number one. Number two is in Santa Barbara County near San Diego or UCLA, I don't remember. In college, meningitis is spreading. One young man who is 20 years old, his feet had to be cut off from spreading. To save his life, they have to cut off his feet. So what she is saying is that if this meningitis spreads through the campus, college campus, what will happen? She is personally responsible for it. She is the government officer. She is a doctor, and she wants to make sure that that does not spread. So story number one is about tuberculosis. Story number two is about college the meningitis that spreads in the college, where they had to cut the feet of the young child, and she goes to and prevents that. And then the third one is hepatitis C, where there was a clinic in Los Angeles where they were taking the blood of the patients who had knee pains, and then they were circulating the blood in a centrifuge and then pumping the blood back in the body. And she goes there to inspect it, and she finds out that there are not proper precautions taken to stop the spread of diseases, so she shuts it down. So basically, she is part of this Wolverines. They're a COVID response team, like what they call. There are like-minded people who are about 7 people or 8 people. They call themselves Wolverines, and they take it upon themselves to study how the disease is spreading throughout the world and what can we do about it. They form a group called Wolverines, including Richard Hatchett that I mentioned earlier and Carter Mesher. How much time do we have, Lakshmi?
Sir, you can take, it's just we are crossing around so 20th minute now, I think.
20th minute. So still have 10 more minutes. Okay. So the way I will do it is that I will speak for 10 more minutes. I will give as much information as I can about the book, and then we'll open up for questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So going back here. So Charity Dean. So he is talking about people who have made a difference in real life. These people who are still living here, we can email them, you can communicate with them. This book is a sample. Just because this book is talking about few people like Dr. Charity Dean, does not mean there is a person who is in Hyderabad or in Chennai or in Coimbatore or in Delhi. Look around the people around you, and you will see that there are wonderful people who are doing wonderful work. And go ahead, find out about them, and then help them. At least to know about them, and then spread the word that such a good work is happening. This is the inspiration that we can take from this book. There is Joe DiRisi at the University of California in San Francisco. He is called a virus hunter. He studies where there is a virus that is happening. He studies the virus that is happening in pythons, the snakes, the python snakes in somewhere in South Africa. There is a lady who has a python as a pet. And then she is worried that my python is dying. I don't know what is happening to my pet python. And then he says that he figures out a way, he figures out a semiconductor chip by which can detect a virus very quickly. And he says that he spreads out the word. There are scientific papers which are there. Any disease that you don't have a clue about, any virus that you don't have a clue about, anything that is happening, please reach out to me, please email me. And he keeps a red phone. He says that I'm curious, I want to find out, I want to solve the problem. And then he figures out that that virus which is there in that snake, in that python snake, because of which the python is dying, has a solution to present that can be useful in developing a vaccination for coronavirus. That's the reason why we talk about it in this book. So the point that there are several points he makes in this book. There are several lessons to take away from this book. One of the main lessons is that we all live in our individual boxes, imaginary mental boxes, where we think that, okay, I belong to this community, and then I solve my problems this way. I belong to this community, I solve my problems this way. And we all live in these mental boxes. But if we can get out of our box and then look in another box, it can save us several years of work. That is, there may be a solution which is there in chemical engineering or in medicine or in genetics or in some other area for which we are not familiar with. That's the reason why we read these scientific journals and we read these newspapers, where you may find a solution that is completely not related to your area, but if we look into that, we may find a solution. So we see in history repeatedly, some people have conquered some country and then they have destroyed the books. The books may be they have burnt the book. Look at, I'm giving an example of Nalanda, the University of Nalanda in India. When the Muslim rulers came, when the Mughal rulers came, they burnt the book. They burnt thousands of books. That book might have a solution about if you are bitten by a snake, how do we prevent it? How do we stop a person from dying if you are bitten by a snake? It may be written in Sanskrit language, it may be written in some other language that is not familiar to us, but they're not even willing to listen. They say, no knowledge can be outside our own Muslim books, and therefore anything that is different from us, we will burn it. Then they're saying, sir, this is India, and we have these plants. You take this plant, you rub these plants together, you make a juice out of it, you can stop a person from dying from snake bite. Nope, they're not interested. This is what happened in Nalanda. But this is actually happening today. We don't want to even listen to the other side. Whether it is a different religion, whether it's a different country, whether it's a different culture, whether it's a different language, we don't want to listen. We say, I have a block. I don't want to listen. Who is losing? I'm losing. I'm the person who is losing if I refuse to listen. So Joe DeRossi, he talks about that. He says that, tell me any virus that is happening in the world. And I'm giving an example of a virus, but look at what is happening in medical field. Look at what is happening in engineering. Look at what is happening in chemical engineering. Look at what is happening in artificial intelligence. There are people who are interested, who are fascinated by what is happening, and they want to take the research to the next level. But they're not getting a chance because we all are in our individual silos. We are all so focused in our own work, in our own box, that even if it is in the wrong direction or even if it is in the wrong notion, we are not even willing to listen. So the question is, if I can see myself that I am in this box, that I am not even allowing other people to reach me, I'm not even looking into some other areas, then maybe there is a solution. So Joe the virus hunter, he talks about three things. That is, in February 2003, he receives complaints about a strange disease that is going on. Okay, and then there is a lady with unknown meningitis, and then he tries to find the solution. I will share the slides with you. Okay, the last mile problem in medical science. Corporations were interested only in stuff that made money. Right now, there are what my daughter calls orphan medicines. My daughter is a first-year student in UC Berkeley. What she is talking about, she is a first-year student in electrical engineering and computer science, but she is fascinated about what is happening in medical science. What she is saying is that 80% of the corporations only want to invest in 80% of the diseases. Nobody wants to care about 20% of the diseases where they want to develop a medicine for somebody where they don't have a market. It does not justify their investment. So corporations were interested only in making stuff that made money. Academics were interested in anything worthy of publication, but once they had their paper done, they tended to lose interest. The government was meant to fill in the blanks. Somebody else has to fill in the blanks, what we call the last mile problem. That is, I have a public transportation that I can take, a train from here to there and from there to a bus, but the last mile I have to walk myself. There is no public transportation. So that's the last mile problem. And that's the last mile problem in medical science. So he had visited CDC. In this book, he criticizes Center for Disease Control to explain the new genomic theory, only to be met with boredom and blank stares. Joe Jurisiv goes to explain, saying that there is a new genomic technology by which we can quickly identify a virus and develop a solution, develop a vaccination, but nobody wants to even listen to it. So there are several people, there are several people that can be blamed, but it's not a question of whom to blame. What can we learn from it? What mistake happened and what can we learn from it? That's what the book is about. So Dr. Michael Wilson from Massachusetts, he has his own lab. He gives funding to Joe's lab. And then he talks about a teenage boy dying of encephalitis. So these are the Wolverines. These are the 7 people, with Carter being in the center. And then Charity Dean, Lisa, Todd Park, and all that. All these people, you will be able to find out about it. So because it is such a wonderful book. Some books are worth reading 100 times. There was a person who said that this book by Marcus Aurelius called Meditations, he actually read it 100 times. He said that that book was given to me when I was a child. My mother read to me when I was a child as a bedside story. It's written by a Roman emperor called Marcus Aurelius. And I read it when I was after 2 years, after 2 years, after 2 years, I kept reading. And now I am 55 years old. I have read the book 100 times. And each time I read it, I understand the deeper meaning of it, he says. I have read the book called William Shakespeare's Hamlet 100 times. And then there was some newspaper article that said about Shivaji Ganeshan reads the script 100 times. Why does anybody read anything 100 times? Because he says that I read not only my character, but I read all other people's characters and I find out a deeper understanding of it. Once I have a deeper understanding of it, it shows in my acting. Who reads anything 100 times? But there are some books that are worth reading 100 times, where you have a deeper understanding of it. So this is one of those books. Each reading, I have been reading it, the book got published in 2021 and now it is 2024. I have read it at least 10 times. And each reading, you find a new lesson. So they call themselves Wolverines. For more than a decade, 7 doctors had come together. Each time a biological threat presented itself. MERS, Ebola, Zika, etc. They had all been involved in each of these outbreaks one way or the other. So there was Lisa who joined suddenly, and then what she cared about suddenly was that this rogue group of patriots who were working behind the scenes to save the country when there was no help from the establishment, when there was no help from the government. All they cared about, even when they are giving the solution, the government is not implementing it. Even when the vaccination is available, some people are spreading a news saying that don't take the vaccination. It will hurt you without any basis. I'm trying to mute all. Okay, there is a window that came up. Okay, events leading to the onset of the pandemic. So he gives the sequence of events. What happened in January 2020, and then 9 days into the Carter silence. What they notice is that they look at the Google Translate and look at the Chinese newspapers, their translation into English, and find out that something odd is going on in China, in Wuhan. What is going on? How come overnight a 10,000 patient hospital is built? We need to act quickly. What is going on? So he cared about something going on that is there in China, which is open to all of us. The interesting thing is that if any of us was interested in this, we could have followed. Even today, we can follow what is happening. Take one topic, call it pandemic, call it chemical engineering, call it bridge engineering, whatever that is interested in, that you are interested in, and then follow it through deeply. And you will see that there are connections there. See, Chinese government was behaving as if the virus was already spread. So he gives the list of sequence of events that happened. And then 2 days later, the first passenger tested positive, the Diamond Princess. That is the ship. On February 3rd, 2020, the Diamond Princess checked back into Tokyo Bay. 2 days after that, the number of confirmed positives reached the 61 people. So he talks about how fast the disease is spreading and where can we take lessons from. And he talks about, so here is the person who funded for vaccinations, backed up with 29.2 millions of funding. This included 4 rapid response programs, Moderna, CureVac, Inovio, and the University of Queensland, using pioneering technologies designed to accelerate the development of the vaccinations. And one of the lessons that I wanted to share this with you is the lessons of Man Gulch Fire 1949. This actually happened. There is a book called Young Men in Fire. And about few people were sent, I don't know, 11 people or some people were sent, and then most of them died in the fire. And he says that in firefighting, there are lessons that we can take in disease prevention. If you can see the smoke, if you can see the fire, it's too late. The disease that you're looking at today is the disease from last week. It's too late for you to take action. Already people are dying. It's like, and the exponential growth is unimaginable for a human mind. We can see that, oh, the fire is there so far away. What we cannot imagine, the speed at which something bad moves. So by the time we have to learn to smell the smoke and take action when there is smoke, by the time the fire comes, it's too late. You cannot outrun it. That's the lesson he tells about this. In fire, you could see lessons for fighting a raging disease. He jotted them down. You cannot wait for the smoke to clear. Once you can see things clearly, it's already too late. You can't outrun an epidemic. By the time you start to run, it is already upon you. You're already dead. Your family members are dead. So therefore, take action before it happens. The warning, if there is the faintest possibility of a catastrophic disease, you should treat it as it being a lot more likely than it seems. You should treat the patient as if she had Ebola, because the consequences of not doing so can be calamitous. You can't outrun an epidemic. By the time you start to run, it is already upon you. Identify what is important and drop everything that is not. Even today, identify what is important and drop everything that is not. Something that we are working on, something that needs to be done quickly. But we are so distracted. Each of us are so distracted. The doctors allow their mind to rest sooner than they should. Therefore, a patient dies. What if the doctor kept thinking? He comes home. He is thinking at the back of his mind. What if the doctor is having dinner? And then he thinks that, oh, maybe I can try this. I'm trying these several things. There is no progress in the patient. Maybe I can try this and I can save the patient. If the reason people died is because doctors allowed their mind to rest before they should. That's what he says. This is the line in the book. I'm quoting a line from the book. Figure out the equivalent of an escape fire. Escape fire. Your house is on fire. Figure out an escape route. And somehow save yourself and your family and your pets. The Man Gulch fire captured the difficulty people had imagining exponential growth, even when their lives depended on it. We are reactive and tend to only intervene when things are getting bad, wrote Carter. And what we underestimate is the speed that what's bad moves. The speed with which the bad moves. We only tend to intervene when things are getting bad, and we underestimate the speed at which something bad moves. So therefore, what they are saying is that take action now. If you are so busy fighting fires all the time, there is no time for you to invest in preventing fires. And the whole society is about preventing fires. What can we do today that is better than yesterday, so that we can prevent future fires? But where is the time to prevent future fires? We are so busy all the time in preventing fires because there's always a fire one way or the other. So we invest our resources, we invest our time, we invest our money, we invest our food in people to study so that they can do research and find out a new way of preventing fires. Let there be some dedicated people. Let us not discourage any innovation, any research in any field by any group of people, whether they are Muslim people, whether they are Japanese people, whether they are South American people. Just because they happen to be different from us, they may have a solution that will help us, our children.
I think Babu, winding up.
Yeah, winding up.
Okay.
So basically, I will share this list of slides with you.
Yeah.
He talks about the disappointing leadership. He talks about, how when there is, when the entire society does not have, like he gives an example of American society and its failures, but there are lessons to take in every country. In every country, you will find that there is nothing is perfect, nothing works perfectly. So here there was an incentive for private, there was incentive for private investment and private development, and because it's a capitalist society, right? So the government said that there was a defense department for homeland security for military threats inside USA, and there is Department of Defense for military threats outside USA, but there was no plan for something like a virus disease, a centralized coordinated plan. Everybody was went to fight for themselves. Each state and each county and everybody tries to fight for themselves. And then some people, some counties and some states like Florida said that, oh, the vaccination is not fully tested. I don't even want to take a vaccination. Some of my friends said that, I said, like, there's a vaccination available, take it. They said, no, I don't want to take it. Because on internet, I read that, there is no proof. So it's a matter of education. It's a matter of convincing people. It's a matter of centralized policy. For things like defense, we need a centralized policy. So all these people, he gives a sequence of events. He talks about these people under President Obama's county's chief technology officer, what he did to Todd served as a White House technology advisor based in Silicon Valley from August 2014 to January 2017. And DJ Patil, who had served as the country's first chief data scientist. You will notice that there are people from India, Indian roots. There are people from China. There are people from different parts of the world, Africa, in USA, trying to save the world, trying to find a virus that will help the world. You may find that there is a vaccination that is designed by somebody in South America who speaks Spanish language, who is working and helping American people because he sent an email with a solution that is helping all of us. And you will be reading about this. Dr. Priscilla Chan, she's the wife of Mark Zuckerberg, who is as you know, who is the Facebook founder, right? So they invested money. Chan Zuckerberg Biohub, pediatrician. His wife, Dr. Priscilla Chan, is a pediatrician. Priscilla Chan had set itself a preposterous goal to eliminate all disease on Earth by the end of 21st century. Who has such goals? Who makes such goals? He says, I'm going to invest all my money in preventing all diseases. I don't want a single child to die. If we can, let's help such people. So he talks about such people. He says that these things are happening around us. Let us educate ourselves such a thing is happening, and then help us in however we can. A doctor turned venture capitalist who had advised Obama about healthcare. Can we cure all diseases in our children's lifetime? In our children's lifetime. Assuming that our children will be, by the end of 21st century. Preventable deaths, the hole that is left in the life of a person when a death happens. Center for Disease Control elicited very little enthusiasm, very inadequate response. There was a reason why Center of Disease Control, CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention, was made ineffective, because actually this happened. I don't remember the exact year, but they shut down the entire country saying that this disease is going to kill the people. And then something happened and the disease actually did not materialize, and everybody blamed them. The chief of CDC was fired, said that you shut down the country for no reason, or you didn't estimate the gravity of it properly, and therefore that's how it was made ineffective. You can see all the institutions around us are being made ineffective because of one mistake. Because of one mistake, now we know what they're saying. If meningitis is going through the college campus and somebody's feet are being cut, we will just watch it as a science experiment. We're not going to prevent it. We're not going to take any action. That's the stand of CDC now. An institution that is meant to stop spreading of the disease is made ineffective because of one single mistake. So there are pearls of wisdom from the book, understanding the past and reflecting on it so that we can be prepared. Let's study the past. Books and historians are vital. Governments need to look into the future and expect the worst. We need superstars and nourish them. There is no shortcut to courage. Courage is a muscle memory. Repeatedly, he talks about the heroine where she says that I'm actually scared. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'll not stop it from riding the horse. I have to get on the horse. So she forces herself. She is crying inside. She is wiping her tears and getting on the horse. And so she keeps telling herself that courage is a muscle memory. If I do it enough number of times, I will not stop myself. Health should be a national agenda for every country. The illness you prevented and the lives you saved will go unnoticed by the people sitting on the top of the society. It's okay. Even if you don't get award for it, people don't realize what it is until something bad happens. 90% of the battles is in the first few days. 90%. A lot of people had died because doctors had allowed their minds to come to rest before they should. These are the quotations from the book. To do the job of local public health officer, you basically always needed to be willing to lose your job. Because even today in Santa Clara County, where I live, there are protests saying that why are you shutting down our business? We cannot live, our restaurant cannot be shut down. When a doctor stops treating patients, okay, this is a lesson. Even as programmers, I should take. Everybody, when a doctor stops treating patients, they slowly start to forget seeing patients is how they slowly start to forget. Seeing patients is how you develop a sixth sense. She wasn't simply doing good work. In other words, she was gathering intelligence. That means when a programmer stops coding, he is no good. Hands-on work is the only way that we can verify. So in terms of programming, in terms of software engineering, if he is an architect but he cannot do coding, no good. If he is a doctor but he can only do administrative decisions, no good. You have to look at the patient. You have to not stop treating the patients. That's the lesson. And there are reviews in all these magazines. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. You can close the presentation.
Sure. Okay, I'll close it so that you can ask questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So it was very interesting. We were more energetic and more structured while delivering the messages. It was very interesting. Okay, so you shared a lot of information and you created a high degree of interest to read the book at least once. Okay, at least once we need to read this book, and I understand it's about the 300 pages, right? 300 to 400 pages, this book, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I have one question, so we'll quickly
Yeah, sure.
discuss on this and we'll take the questions from
I have the
others.
book in my hand. Yeah, about 296 pages like
Yeah,
this.
300 pages. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. This is the book. Yeah, go
Are
ahead.
they, my question is, are they more discussing about only this contagious or the spreadable diseases and not the chronic one? Because there was one statement, right? Like they want to cure all the diseases before some time, right? During the age right?
Yeah.
But on the other side, there is always a statement like this pharmacy mafia and all, right? Medicine mafia,
Yes,
who are
yes.
not allowing people to find a permanent cure and all, right? So
Right.
this Michael Lewis, is he discussing anything about that in this book?
So your question is, are there efforts to stop people from finding solutions to diseases? Because
Yeah.
some people can make money by not having solutions,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So he does not directly, the author does not directly talk about that question.
Mm-hmm.
But what he mentions is that the people who are the doctors who are every day going to treat the patients, they don't go there to hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
They go there with the intention of saving people and helping people.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
But medical mistakes happen.
Mm.
Now, the question is, just because one mistake happened, am I going to cancel the license of a doctor and stop him from treating other patients? That's not correct, right? So what he is saying is that in actual practice of practicing the medicine, I am doing my best to prevent a death. So I'm not getting out of my bed and driving at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock in the morning to work, to my hospital, to hurt a patient. This is not my thought that, how can I hurt somebody? How can I kill somebody? That's not my intention.
Mm.
My intention is to save somebody. I cried. I know a lot of doctors who are sitting in the parking lot and crying because they could not save a patient. They're saying, I'm trying everything I can, but this is a disease for which I have no solution. And it's a personal responsibility. I don't feel like eating. I don't feel like sleeping. I don't feel like doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because that death is on my soul. I could have prevented it. I could not. And there is a child that is crying. What am I going to talk to the mother and tell them that your child is going to die? There is no solution. I have tried everything. There is no solution. So I feel helpless. So he talks about medical mistakes and he says that design the systems so that it becomes impossible to make a mistake. For example, if I take an American plug, I cannot plug it into Indian wall because America uses 110 volts and then India uses 220 volts. It's impossible to do it because the sizes are different.
Yeah.
I cannot take an Indian plug and plug it into American wall outlet. So what he is saying is that design the systems so that it is impossible to make a mistake. Can we do that? It's possible. And yesterday there was a tool, and then today there is a better tool. We can we are designing systems so that we can stop mistakes from happening. Number one. Number two, what he talks about is that how do we educate people? The first lesson is to make them want to learn, create a curiosity in them or a need so that they will learn. So he gives examples about, in every airline, in the beginning of the flight, they give instructions about in the event of a disaster, in the event of a plane, then you take this airbag and then you blow it, and then this is how you prevent it. Every time they demonstrate it religiously before every flight, but nobody pays attention.
Yeah. That's very normal.
Because what he is saying is that you have to make people get interested, to want to learn. Then they will start learning. So the key is, how do we get people interested in learning? Number one. Number two, people learn because of two reasons. Either there is a need for them that, there is something happening and I need to learn. I need to find a solution quickly. There's a need for it. or I'm curious about it. I'm fascinated by it. I want to know about it, and I don't want to stop in the middle of the solution. I want to go to end of it and find out what happens to the end of the story, or what happens to the end of this thought process that I'm taking it forward. So if we can create the curiosity in people, then they will start asking questions, like the 13-year-old girl which asked question. Who asked such question? I don't know if I'm able to answer your question.
That's fine. It was very clear. Okay. I was also about to ask about that Lara. It was interesting to know on her 13 years old, right? So she created a wonderful paper. Any idea what she's doing now?
I don't have some idea. I think she became a doctor, or she's continuing, because she was blessed with a father who helped her to write a scientific paper, and she got recognized nationally. And everybody knows that this is her paper when she was 13 years old in 2006.
2006, yeah. It's almost 20 years back,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But it's a good question. I should have Googled about her. I'm sure we can Google about her and then find out.
Thank you. We'll move to the Q&A session. Okay. So we'll start with Pardi bro. You can start asking, and you can unmute and start asking the question. Next, we'll take Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks to the doctor who made us fired up. So I'm fired up. He made a lot of examples. So quickly, my question is how to make the people in power listen and see the other side of the positions, and how to identify those unspoken voices yet deserve to be heard. In our own life, how to balance between both big picture and individual pressures. When we say that, your decision is to be made to sanitize the entire place or the entire countries, and of course there has to be few losses of beautiful arts or treasures which also gets burnt. So this is one question. Secondly, when it comes to the personal discussions, when you gave a very good example of adapter of US and UK. So this, can this be also introduced into the people's discussion, like what I call adapter mindset framework that we can develop, so people also get into the mindset of listening to the other side or trying to see the other side. Thank you.
So 2 questions you asked. Question number 1, would you give an example of how do we change the minds of the people who are in power?
No, it's not an example. Like, as you said, people might be making decision, those who are in power in the interest of, they call it big picture. And when when the affected parties try to explain, they are not in a mood to listen, or they are least bothered, or they don't have time to listen. Of course, when there is a fire, if a child is crying that my precious art, which I made for the memory of my mother, it's also getting burned, nobody's going to listen, right? I'm just giving a drastic example so that you can comprehend. But there can be discussions where it is 50-49, 51-49, but then the people, because it is not properly presented or this thing. So I just wanted to know if there is anything discussed in this book or any wisdom on that.
Yeah, definitely. He talks about several cases where he presents like that example I was giving about Dr. Joe Derisi. He presents this solution to CDC, but nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to allocate funds. So repeatedly what happens is that the hospitals he describes about a system of hospitals which are there in the USA. And it's easy to make a judgment saying that, all the USA hospitals are inefficient or something like that. But this is a problem in every country where the hospital is set up so that they can receive, if it is free, if it is paid, they can receive. But if it is free, they are not allowed to receive unless it is verified or unless there is a lot of red tape. So the question is, I think I understand your question. If somebody is having different priorities, how do we make them understand that there are consequences of the decision that they are making, which makes it impossible. If they can see the consequences of not allocating funds, then maybe there are some hope for convincing, because it's all a matter of convincing. So the way the author answers in this book is that tell stories, personalized stories. Don't talk about arguments and debates and then discussions and all that. Don't talk about that. The way to change the heart of a person is by telling personal stories. Talk about the hole that is left in the death of a child, in this family. Talk about the death of a person that happens, the hole that is left in the society. There is a small village and there's only one doctor there. And the doctor dies. What happens to the people? So talk about what he's saying. The way to change the heart is to talk about personal stories, the consequences of not taking action or consequences of not allocating funds. Then it makes a difference. And also it's interesting. Look at the government that are there in Kerala, the state of Kerala. Look at the government that are there in the state of West Bengal. And how these policies and consequences of their decisions. And compare that with the government that is there in South America, like Venezuela, or China, or North Korea. Different systems of governments are there, right? Like China, there is communism, there is different degrees of democracy and so on. Everywhere people have good intentions, they want to make a contribution. They want to improve the lives of the people around them. But they are not successful. Look at what is happening in Telugu states, in Telangana and in Andhra Pradesh and in Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh and other places. People are trying to improve the lives of society, but they are trying to do it in their own way, and they're not perfect. But is there a lesson that we can take? Maybe from Kerala, maybe from West Bengal, maybe from Gujarat, maybe from Telangana, maybe from Tamil Nadu, maybe from Coimbatore. We don't know. But at least if we want to answer your question, if we want to change the heart of the person, tell personal stories, personal consequences of what happened, that this child who could have become a doctor is not getting scholarship. This person who belongs to a low income family or who belongs to a different community, there are no scholarships for them. He is a good student. If given a chance, he can become a doctor and save some lives. If given a chance, he can become an engineer. He can become a good, productive member of the society. But he is not getting a chance because he doesn't have the scholarship to study. He is not getting a chance because he did not study in English medium. He studied in Telugu medium or Tamil medium. So there is a gap. There is a gap between, because there is no such thing as a person is belonging to this community. He can never be intelligent. He can never pass. He already passed, he already failed these exams and therefore he can never. No, there is a theory right now with YouTube, with the YouTube videos, you can watch the mathematics or whatever subjects enough number of times so that every child can pass with 90% marks. Just give him 2 more weeks of education or 4 more weeks of education. Every child can pass with 90% of mark. It's not like you are born with less intelligence and therefore you got 30% marks and therefore for life you will be always 30% only. Not like that. How do we make every child pass at 90% of the marks? Repeat the lesson enough number of times. And give opportunities to underrepresented people, so that they also become part of the mainstream. They also, because remember few years back, like so many tens of thousands, hundreds of years back, some people were not even allowed to get education. Even today in the country of Pakistan, the girls are not allowed to get educated. They're saying, look at the Quran. Don't allow the girls to get educated. And then they will quote some religious book saying that these people, by birth, in their blood, they are less intelligent. They should not be given a chance. Even if you give them a chance, they will always be stupid. They will only be getting 30% marks or 40% marks because inherently there is something wrong with their blood. But that is not true. Repeatedly, it has been proven that given a chance, they will become good doctors. They will become good engineers. They may come up with a solution like the 13-year-old girl who can provide a way by which we can prevent the spread of a disease. I hope I answered that question. There were two questions, right? Like one, you asked about how do we change the heart of the person who have other priorities. And then the second question was what?
I was trying to make a adapter mindset, when you
Adapter
say
mindset.
that, Indian adapter cannot get into American wall,
Yes.
then what is the solution? Then the adapter is the solution. So
Yes, yes,
because
absolutely.
today I speak to somebody, across the globe, and he's with the adapter over there, and I'm with the socket over here. And we never connect, right? And then
Yes.
if we introduce something called adapter mindset, then we can do that. So is there anything like that?
Yeah, definitely.
Because when we don't know all these things, we keep on banging the wall for nothing. Then the solution doesn't happen, and then ego comes into play without discussing the thing. We keep discussing the power and try to see who is mightier and stuff like that, and the discussion gets into different direction.
I agree.
So,
I completely agree.
How to kill it at the
So basically, if we think that this person who is in the other side of the world is our family member, and then we tell them that, I have 110 volts. If I try to plug into Indian system without first of all, it's impossible to plug in. And even if I find an adapter and then plug it in, then my instrument will be damaged because it is expecting 110 volts and then 220 volts will damage that instrument, whatever instrument that I'm trying to plug in. Even if I find an adapter, it will be damaged because it's not supposed to get 220 volts. It's designed for 110 volts. And there are solutions, simple solutions, which are there in India, which are so difficult to implement in America. Nobody listens. And there are simple solutions which may be in America or in Japan or in South America or in Israel or in Iran or in Pakistan. So easy, simple solutions. What we say in Telugu, there is a phrase that says that gotito poyedi goddal laka teeskoodam. With your flick of a finger, with your nail, you can solve the problem. But it becomes so big that you have to take an axe to cut it. Such solutions are there. But for some reason or other, so if we think that they are our family members, they are not some faraway people who refuse to listen to us, but they are our family members, how can we make a decision? We don't give up on our family members, right? We try 10 times, it doesn't work. We try 11 times, 12 times, we keep on trying until we actually find a solution. Until we are able to reach them somehow. Even if we cannot, what does the mother do? What does the father do? What does the a brother do? He keeps on giving 100 different, 200 different kinds of offerings to his family member, hoping that one thing they will like. Because they are rejecting for some reason or the other. They are saying no to all the things that you have offered. But then 201 or 220, you will present something. And then they'll say, oh, this is very good. And then you feel very happy. You go through this every day in the family, right? You offer different kinds of books, they don't like. You offer different kind of music, they don't like. You offer different kind of movies, they don't like. You offer different kind of foods, they don't like. But then finally, after trying like 14 times or 15 times, you come across one thing they will like, and then you feel, oh my God, like I have achieved something. Because I have been able to find something that they can like.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bhargav, bro. So we are saying 64th review, the event organized jointly by IRTT Readers Forum and American Tamil Media. Those who have questions or any points to share, please raise your hands and wait in the queue. You will be called. Next is Krishna, so you can unmute and ask a question.
Thank you so much, sir. And this book is really like very insightful. And I just had two questions regarding this, the context of this book actually. Like as there are many research and technical papers and more manpower who are really working to empower the society. But even having these many things in place, where we actually fail to retaliate the virus, or is it like the government are actually misguiding the people and fail to make awareness uh, like on the right time? I mean, then like should we really carry the guilt of the misguided government as an individual?
Yeah, the question is, should we carry the guilt of the misguided government? At the end of the day, we are what our record shows at the end of the day. And whether we carry the guilt or not, the fact remains. I had a chance to stop one person from dying. I had an opportunity and I did not do it. That's a record on my record, like on my heart. I have to take that to heart, saying that last Friday, my friend had lunch with me. There is a weekend, I come on Monday, I don't find him. What happened? He died of kidney disease. Something happened, and then every day I used to have lunch with him. Now I don't see him. He has a family. He has a wife. He has 2 children. His wife is pregnant with the 3rd child, and the person died. That leaves a hole in my heart and in the society. So the question is, who to blame? Whom can we blame? So he tells in the book, he gives a list of people. You want to blame? Okay, let's start blaming Barack Obama, the Trump, and then this department and that department and this. What is the point? We can blame 100 people. What does that achieve? I can blame myself. How am I responsible for a death that I could have prevented? For a death that is happening today. Tomorrow I will come to work and find that somebody is missing. What can I do? That's a question that everybody can ask themselves and see that, I think of this book, think of this movie, Schindler's List. There was a movie called Schindler's List, and then he says that, I was wearing this watch costs so many dollars. If I did not wear this watch, I could have saved one more person, because I'm paying money to buy the lives of people that I can save. And with this watch, I could have purchased one more person, because he pays money to save the lives of people in that movie. So he cries and he says that I could have not worn this watch and I could have saved somebody. And then the response, his friend says, sir, you already did so much. You already saved so many lives. Let your heart be at peace that you did the best you could. You could have done more, of course. You can ask that question to yourself, but you did more than most people did to save lives of people. So therefore, there will always be a situation where you can say that, maybe I can skip eating dinner. Maybe I can skip eating breakfast. Maybe I can do 24 hours fasting and then give that money for donation to somebody. Where is the end to this? So the question is, let us set some goals to ourselves so that we are able to at least have the peace that I have achieved the goal that I have set up for myself. Whether it is writing a book, whether it is reading a book, or whether it is making a book that is written, get enough publicity, talk about it, so that people are motivated to write more books like this. People are motivated to at least talk about the books. And these books can be made, the ideas that are told in the books can be implemented in our lives so that we can make a better society. we can contribute better to our society. Because today we are eating the fruits of plants that were planted, the trees that were planted about 100 years back. Today we are eating those fruits. Today let us plant the seeds of which our children and grandchildren will eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And I mean, you mentioned about the mental box representation. That was really good. I mean, I like that representation of how we are today. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Krishna. So next one is for quotation bro. You can unmute and participate.
Yeah, கேக்குதா இளமாறன்?
கேக்குதுண்ணா, பேசு.
ஓகே, முதல் தமிழ் வார்த்தை நினைக்கிறேன் ரொம்ப நேரத்துக்கு அப்புறம். Mr. Babu.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a good review. Actually, I watched this review in an American laptop with the Indian adapter. I bought it for 30 rupees. So it's working for 7 years. Okay. It's very emotional review. I mean, seeing your review, I felt you are speaking very emotionally, like a mini Shivaji Ganesan.
Energetic. I
You
also
also mentioned about Shivaji Ganesan. That is, Mr. Shivaji has read the script 100 times, right?
Yes.
Yeah, who said this?
Yeah, I read it somewhere. It was a translated news that said that what makes a great actor a great actor. The same role played by so many people. Yeah. So they were saying that the same role that is played by so many people in different languages, but some person achieves such greatness that is not touched by anybody else. Like, for example, some roles that only Shivaji Ganesan can play and nobody else can play, and then he touches the hearts of the people that watching him, you will start crying.
Yeah, actually, I belong to film industry. I have acted in movies and TV serials. In fact, I have acted with a guy who belongs to Shivaji's family, his brother's son.
Very good.
During the shooting, he was telling that his Periyappa never read the script. Just he listens. He listens when somebody reads it.
Right. I mean, reading, listening, the same thing. The way, for example, this book that I was reading, this Michael Lewis, the Premonition.
That is not 100 times. It's
I read it as an audio book. I listened to it as an audio book about 100 times.
Yeah. That too. Let me complete. Actually, Shivaji sir doesn't listen 100 times. Just 1 or 2 times. The entire script. Okay. Even a drama, even a full-length drama, he listens 1 or 2 times. That's it.
But in one time only, he is able to get the depth of it as if.
But the extraordinary memory power and the listening power and the grasping power, that made him Shivaji Ganesan is a wonderful actor, and also is a very good listener. If he speaks with you for 5 to 10 minutes, he will mimic you.
Yes.
Even if he sees you first time. So once he met a French doctor, he spoke 5 to 10 minutes with him. Then after the doctor went, he started mimicking him. So that is his greatest strength, and that is the capability he had, and that's why he can able to recreate the historical historical characters and the Sankaracharya and all. That is this power.
Yeah, I noticed that he puts himself in the he lives the character himself. He thinks that he is living, and if he is there in that situation, how he will behave. Like that, he starts thinking and he starts crying, and we cry with him. So it's no longer a fake acting. What they call real life acting, or there are some terms for it, like that they actually, if he has to run something, he will actually, instead of pretending to run, he will actually run.
No, actually, Shivaji is not is not a type of actor who's playing the role. Actually, he creates some extra things in the character. Actually, MJR is the real player, real character player. He plays the character. But
I see.
Shivaji overacts, and he made people believe that this is acting.
Yes, yes.
That is the power of Shivaji. Okay, let it.
Also,
Actually,
my friend, I see that my friend Raman is here. Raman took me to this movie called 96, where Vijay Sethupathi is there. And
yeah.
Sethupathi also, like, you feel like crying. Basically, he said Vijay Sethupathi is a hero, like that he admires is Shivaji Ganeshan. And then Raman took me there. My friend Raman, I watched this movie with him in the theater here in the Bay Area, in San Francisco Bay Area, with Vijay Sethupathi. And I was watching that. I was not understanding the language. It was in Tamil language. I was watching the subtitles. Still, I was crying.
Yeah, it's a wonderful movie, and Vijay Sethupathi also a character player. And nowadays, modern actors are not acting; they are playing the roles.
Yes, yes.
So that's a good improvement in Tamil cinema.
Yes.
My question is, I have two questions. I'm afraid to ask you questions because for each and every question you are giving an answer like a book review. Okay. My first question is, actually we are Corona killed a lot, right?
Yeah.
Many people think it's because of the virus, but I personally think it's because of the fear an individual have.
Yes.
The fear the individual has, because I am a bedridden person. I was in wheelchair for the past 15 years. I have all the diseases which easily can be killed by corona. I have blood pressure, sugar, cholesterol, and immunity deficiency, everything. I was affected by corona. For 10 days, I was suffering. I was fighting with it. But without any medication and all, I started recovering the 11th day.
Wow.
Not only me, my entire family, my wife, my two daughters. We haven't took any vaccination. We haven't admitted anywhere, but we had the courage to fight it. So a lot of people expired due to the fear. I heard lot of stories in different hospitals. My close friends, my relatives were admitted. All were suffered by the fear more than the virus.
I agree that, mentally people give up.
Yeah. How to? So you said we want to educate the people.
Yeah.
How we are going to make them courageous? That is also a big factor.
I agree.
This is one more thing. In a tribal area, there was a survey, and an article was written a few years back. In a tribal area, they were doing the ancient way of making delivery and all during pregnancy.
Yes.
But the advanced medication team went there and they gave the ultra modern medicines, vaccination and all. After that, out of 100 kids, only 2 were survived.
Yes.
After all these modern medications.
Yes.
Initially, without these medications, there were around 60 kids survived out of 100.
Yes.
So this is also a factor. This vaccination, this modern medication and all.
Yes.
We don't know how far it is working.
Yes.
So as Ilamaran asked, still we are dying with the medical mafia, with their money making. What do you say? Greedness.
Yes.
That is also my point to make it.
And I think that's a very valid point. The valid point. One of the things that I was talking to my friend Raman, I keep talking about Raman because he is a very close friend, and I keep talking to him. We talk about all the topics. One of the things that there is a movement in America as well as throughout the world, in India also, that is, our food is the reason why we get diseases. So our food is the medicine, not medicine, we don't have to take a separate medicine. So my friend was taking insulin injections for 10 years. For last 2 years, he stopped insulin injections. He's not taking insulin injections anymore, and his diabetes is under control. Why? Because he is following plant-based whole foods. That is, he is not eating any animal products, including milk, because milk is the biggest killer. Milk is the biggest cause of diseases. So what he is saying is that no milk products, vegan. Vegan means no animal products at all. So if he wants to drink milk, he will take rice milk or almond milk or some other vegetable like grain-based milk, right? So he takes plant-based whole foods. Plant-based whole foods, that is, instead of processed foods like potato chips, he slices the potatoes, puts them in the oven or steams them, and then takes them. So if you take whole foods, and if you take plant-based foods, and you take green juices, and you take vegetables, all the diseases that are there, like diabetes, cholesterol, and high blood pressure, and all these diseases can be eliminated, can be reversed. The person who was taking insulin injections, his diabetes is reversed. The doctors in America are telling. So what they are saying is that you're right. There is a medical industrial complex that promotes diseases, that promotes vaccinations, that promotes medicines. That earlier there used to be one person in the family who used to have a diabetes tablet. Now every child, everybody has a diabetes tablet in their pocket. So therefore, the solution is plant-based whole foods, and the solution is in fasting. Fasting is the solution for all diseases. All religions of the world agree on one thing: fasting. 24-hour fasting, 48-hour fasting, water only fasting, 72 hours fasting. The more fasting that you do, we eat unnecessarily. And everyday walking, at least for 1.5 hours or 2 hours, 10,000 steps. Do yoga. So after some time, you find that your lifestyle and the kind of food determines the kind of disease that you get. So you can prevent diseases actually. You can reverse diabetes and high blood pressure and cholesterol and all these things. Take a plate, divide it into half, quarter plate fruit, quarter plate raw vegetables like salad leaves and carrots and tomatoes and cucumbers and onions, quarter plate cooked vegetables, quarter plate grains, cooked grains, like rice or wheat or quinoa or whatever. That's your plate. Once in 24 hours. We don't have to overeat. Once sometimes in Telugu people, I find that they take food once in 24 hours, like Ayyappa Swami Diksha, but in one time only they will eat more than 3 times. So limit yourself to 500 calories, and every day eat this food once in 24 hours, like I explained, right? Take a plate, quarter plate fruit, quarter plate salad, raw vegetables, quarter plate cooked vegetables, quarter plate grains. And every week do 24 hours fasting, water only fasting, or do 48 hours fasting, and see why your weight is not controlled. Weight control is a very big problem for people. Why is that so? Why can't they do fasting? It's not that difficult. In the beginning, it may be difficult, but you can easily skip breakfast every day. Just drink water and then just have lunch and dinner. After some time, you can also skip lunch. It's not that difficult. We are not working in the farms and doing physical manual labor where we need to consume a lot of food. What I'm suggesting may not be for children who are below 10 years old or something, but anybody who is above 10 years old, they can easily do 24 hours fasting. So you are completely right. There is an incentive for people to sell medicines.
Yes.
There is an incentive for people to sell processed foods. But nobody is forcing that processed food into our mouths. We are the ones who are buying it, and we are the ones who are putting it in our mouth.
Yeah, Babu sir. One more thing. People in Chennai are buying the apples which is cultivated in Kashmir. It's cultivated for Kashmiri people, right?
Right.
Because they may need extra starch for them.
That's right.
but in Chennai, it's local foods, papaya, banana, guava are available, but they are not willing to eat those fruits. They want to
Yes.
buy apple because it's costly, it's colorful.
Yes.
So that awareness also should be created. We should tell people to eat the fruits and vegetables which is cultivated on their own
Locally,
area.
yeah, local. Because the thing is, somebody is paying for the gasoline, somebody is paying for the petrol to carry the apple all the way from Kashmir to Tamil Nadu.
Yes.
That means we are spending for that petrol and gasoline and money and all that, right? So we can grow things that are locally
Guys,
available.
I am
Yeah.
enjoying your talk, but we are going all the way away from the topic.
I agree. We are
Yeah.
going all the way.
I'm really enjoying it, but let's if this
Another-
review goes more than 2+ hours, nobody's going to watch. So
I know. I know.
Yeah.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Koti, go for the question, and Babu, go for the answer, please.
Yeah.
That's finished. Thanks, Babu sir.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So basically,
Thanks.
the point that Mr. Koteshwaran is making is that we don't have to we give priorities to the local foods that are available, but as an option once in a while, if somebody wants to eat fruit or some vegetable that is available in faraway place and they are willing to pay for it, that's okay. But we don't have to not eat local fruits, locally grown foods, because there is value to that also. It's like, once in a while, every day I watch Telugu movies but once in a while I watch Hollywood movies. Once in a while I watch French movies or Germany movies and so on. Like once in a while, that's okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks,
Koti,
Koteshwaran.
finish the question. Don't stop because I want you to finish the question.
Finished.
Finished.
Thank
Thanks.
you,
Thanks.
Koti.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing about the legend and about yourself. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next is Akankesh, bro. You can unmute and ask.
Sir, our actually, our friend Mr. Raman is there. If he wants, he can discuss. Then I will discuss. No problem. I
Okay.
can wait.
Hi, this is Raman here. Yes, I'm
You
available.
can
I'm
turn
there.
on the
Yeah.
camera also, Raman. If your
Yeah.
light is there, you can turn on the camera also.
No, I came to the gym actually. I don't
Oh
want
yeah,
to.
no problem.
But நான் தமிழ் பேசுறவங்க சொல்லுங்க. I'm here. I'm just accompanying Devendra Babu here. It's lovely to listen. I thought I'm going to listen in Tamil, but it's happened to be in English. It's okay.
Raman is going to teach me Tamil.
Will do. சார் அவரு யாரோ ஒருத்தர் பேசுனாங்க. One point I know. Shivaji Ganesan mimic the other person. Yeah, it is one of the quality intelligent people have. As soon as you speak to somebody for 3 minutes, they will exactly capture all your intellectual, everything they'll observe and then they repeat. Pretty much like that's the quality of intelligent people. I observed that when you said. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Ram. So you can join subsequent sessions. So every week we do
Yeah.
this review.
Thank you. Yeah.
Normally we do in Tamil. Today it's a special session for Babu sir. Okay,
Thank
so you can connect with our Kanalashmi and she can share the link and all. Okay, so we are doing this every week, so you can try to join all the sessions if possible. Okay.
Panla, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ram. So next is Kankesh, bro. You can unmute and
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yes,
Yeah.
you're
Yes, sir. Sir, we felt your emotions, anguish, angry towards the ineffectiveness of government machinery, etc. It's very much. We felt that same feeling. Most of the people we are here also felt the same. And I have a difference of opinion about vaccine from your point of view, but I am not going to discuss about this. But my point of question is, sir, once pandemic is on, so the government, everybody, doctors, hospitals, they concentrated and they waited for vaccine. And actually, they treated the patients who admitted because of COVID with symptomatic treatment they treated. But I am afraid that our medical knowledge failed in saving the people. We don't know how to deal that complex symptoms, or maybe because of the severity of the virus attack. Maybe we are not having that much knowledge or intelligence or something like that. And again, most of the hospitals here, they were treating the COVID patients as like a simple fever or some common cold. So they were not, mostly they were not serious, except for the patients who were having a lot of money, that is having some good background from a very educated family or a good position. So I felt that instead of looking for vaccine, we could have, one point of time, we could have turn our attention towards medicine. This is that is treatment instead of prevention. Prevention is okay. Now we can prevent. And actually we should have started correcting the disease, one point. Then second thing, almost all of people, and you might have also felt the same, our health department in all the government, World Health Organization, politicians, those who the people who are on the helm of affairs at that time, mostly they were power craving, selfish. They want to get some sort of benefits from the this whole scenario. So that made the entire episode very much sad, and it is actually all these because of these power craving people. Again, we only elected them, we only made them a prime minister, chief minister, president, something like that. Maybe those people, they have not came up actually for our rescue. This was my even now, sir, in most of the occasions, I personally feel isolated during such difficult positions. Even I am having a good position in on government PSU, but even then I feel isolated whenever I feel I am facing a bad situation in the society. So some sort of issue with the administration or local government. So that was the thing we have to correct. But I don't know. The entire whatever these pandemic disasters, flood, everything, it is because of our pettiness, selfishness. So these psychological correction we need to make in our entire society. That is what I felt. Okay, but that is beyond our control. I felt that our religion, politicians, both were in the wrong direction, and it may be because of so many people who are guiding the entire system. So so these are my point of view. Oh, but first question, if you are able to answer, that may be okay, because this book was written during the pandemic, just during the pandemic. Whether he has discussed about the medication after the disease has come up. Thank you.
Yeah. He talks about the medication because at the time of his writing the book, he was talking about vaccinations. He was talking about medicines also. He talks about all the starting from the vaccinations, also from the medicines. For example, remdesivir is one of the medicines that were given. I got coronavirus myself. I was in the hospital and I was taken to intensive care unit also. I was in the hospital for 10 days and 10 days. And then I was in the intensive care unit. There was no guarantee that I might be coming out alive. And I was in the hospital. Next to me, there was another person who was about 30 years old. He actually passed away next to me. The person who is next to me, with coronavirus, he actually passed away. He was talking to his children every day on the phone, in the video, and then he passed away. So looking at him, I felt very sad. Basically, God decides, or nature decides, or destiny decides, or whatever it decides. We feel grateful that we have no right to be here. I am still alive. And sometimes we feel that we are grateful that we are still alive. We don't have a right to be here, but we are still alive. So some people who are much younger than us, less than 10 years old, they are dying. And we are fortunate that even at the age of 62, I am 62 years old, and I am still alive. I'm not supposed to be alive. Some of my classmates have died, but I am still alive. So to be alive is the greatest blessing from God, that we have received a gift that we can use to make ourselves happy as well as other people happy. It's not like I have to make myself sad to make other people happy. There is a win-win situation where you can help other people and also yourself. That it is beneficial to other people and also beneficial to yourself. Then it becomes a sustainable. It becomes like you have an incentive by which a business can run. For example, a restaurant cannot keep on giving food for free. In order for the restaurant to continue to buy vegetables and provide food, it has to be able to having paying customers. Not every restaurant can work like a temple where the food is given for free. Not every hospital can work like a hospital where the medicines are given free. So in order to make a sustainable restaurant or sustainable business, you need to have some kind of selfishness, some kind of money that has to come inside. You have to make your product and your service that is valuable, for which people are willing to pay money. And then you can probably pay like 10% or 5% or 20% or whatever money that you get, you can use it for providing food for free or medicines for free or providing medical services for free and so on. But at the end of the day, people want to be paid for the time and people want to be paid for their knowledge.
Yeah.
Then only it becomes sustainable. Otherwise, what happens is that, see, it's like they give the example of a factory that is there. 10,000 people are working in the cotton mill factory, and the machine has stopped. And then they find that the person who can repair is not available anywhere. And they find there is an engineering student who is studying third year of engineering. He is walking by and they call him, "Sir, can you look at the machine? The machine has stopped and 10,000 people have stopped working." He comes around, he looks at the machine, he studies it, that, he takes a hammer and then he hammers it one time. And then the machine starts working. Then he says that, "How much money do you want to charge for this?" He says, "I want 10,000 rupees. He says, 10,000 rupees just for giving one hammer? No, sir. To hit with the hammer is only $1 or 1 rupee. But to study the machine, where to study, what to study, where to study, what is the machine? I am charging 9,999 rupees. I spent 4 years studying about it, sir. Like that, I am studying today for medicine."
Yeah.
So therefore, knowledge that I am studying and I am discussing with other people and I am learning the fine points of it is valuable. And another thing is that there is so much valuable medicines that are available already in India. Right now, we are following Western medicine. But so many Ayurveda medicines and so many medicines are available in India also. But that knowledge is gone because it belongs to some other language. It belongs to Sanskrit language, or it belongs to Muslim language, or it belongs to Japanese language. Who knows, right? But we are not even willing to look at it. We have burnt the books. Our history is full of people who have burnt books and who have killed people.
Exactly.
Today also it is happening.
Sir,
We are refusing to listen.
your will to live has saved you. I go with Kotishwaran.
Yes.
Because he told that without taking any medication, he survived COVID, entire family. Yes.
Yes.
I have seen so many people who will to live. even at the age of 85 or 80s, 90s.
Yes.
They survived whatever problem, whatever diseases they faced. So I have so many personal experiences of those people. I have seen those people. I lived along with that people. So it is true that if we are willing to live, definitely it will save us. There is no second thought. And one more thing, sir. Actually, you pointed out two beautiful this one concepts. One is all brothers. We are all brothers and sisters. My great grandmother and your great grandmothers are maybe sisters. So it is a wonderful concept you recalled. And one more thing, each and every living being in this world is very much important to the world to survive. These two are very, very beautiful concepts. Whether this concept is available in the book or not. The second concept is actually it is mentioned in one of the book, The Alchemist. So which I reviewed some 4-5 weeks before in the same forum. So I am able to recall that, sir. I again congratulate you for reviewing a wonderful book for us in this readers forum, and I also thank you and your friends for participating in this review, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rakesh. Yeah, thank you. We are almost nearing the second hour now. Okay, so let us keep it simple. And so last question from KL. I don't think anyone else is waiting in the queue. So it's KL. It's you now.
I think we lost many people because we were going all the way up the world with every other topic. Babu, I actually really so happy that I had you for this discussion. Very well done. But the problem is, like, there is more things to read in this book. I think we could get some gist of it. At least your introduction will make us feel like reading that book again. Our book first time. I didn't even read it. And so the thing, Babu, is like few things I felt like little contradicting on your speech itself. Like one, you said like doctor gave up before even going to the solution, and then there was one other statement where you mentioned that specifically, how far can you go? There is like he did this much, and then how far can one can go? Like when there is question asked about guilt. So my point is like I know it's easy to blame or easy to say something when we are not in that field, right? So I'm not really supporting whatever happened. I'm definitely feeling that there is very inefficient way of done like things happen in this pandemic. I can definitely rely on that. I'm not going to disagree or argue with you. But my question is like, I'm not really convinced much on like the doctor gave up or all that, because like there are many doctors worked like multiple weeks together. Even my friend daughter studying, she is just studying medicine, but she herself has to be doing like 3-4 weeks together. And so the thing I'm trying to say is like, I'm not justifying or I'm not trying to, put an opposite point to you, but I'm saying like with the knowledge or with the energy they had, they did their best. That's how I felt on most of the cases. And yes, there is definitely ineffective things has been done. So this is just my opinion, and I do want to talk more with you for like maybe different reviews. But next time when we talk, we will have to make our timelines and stuff so we can cover more people and keep more people in. But you must have noticed, everyone must have noticed, Babu has like lots and lots of stuff to share.
Yeah, yes.
He reads like crazy. He reads everything. And as I said, like we go long drives, we won't even feel it because we talked about. So he's like very, very good communicating and stuff. And one, he's trying to say there is going to be 10 things piling up in his head. He has to say all that. So anyway, thank you, Babu. Thank you, Lamaran and guys.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Babu.
Yeah. I think Ashwini has raised her hand, but she's not there now. Okay. We'll
Okay.
take that later. So
Yeah.
you're
So
coming to
the
a
two things
end
that
now.
Lakshmi mentioned is that, there are like sometimes it seems contradictory. Like, for example, there's a saying that says that, doctors let their minds rest, and then I can skip breakfast, I can skip lunch, I can skip 2 days of fasting. How to what extent can we go? So it depends on the context, I think. Like in one context, one sentence seems to make sense. In another context, another sentence makes sense. Like, for example, there's a saying that look before you leap. So that means carefully consider all the possibilities before you actually take an action, right? And then there is another also sentence which is contradictory that says that if you look long enough, you will never leap, because everything seems to be very scary. So if you look long enough, you will never leap. So both are contradictory. Like look before you leap, but if you look long enough, you will never leap, because courage is a muscle memory and every situation is courageous. Therefore, then we will never leap. We will look long enough. So therefore, these are two contradictory, but in our life, we will see the context and see that sometimes we look before you leap. We carefully consider all the possibilities. Sometimes we have looked enough and then we just no longer can wait, and therefore we will take a leap. We will take an action. So both are contradictory, but then the context makes a difference.
Yeah, thanks. Ashwini is back.
Also,
Ashwini,
I agree with Kanake you just posted. I'm not against vaccine. I support it, but I don't know what the hell it is. Like, I know Devendra Babu was having an argument with me 3-4 years back. He forced me almost to take a vaccine, but I didn't take it. But not because of him. It's nothing against him, but I don't know what it is. Like, I believe in nature. I grew up in a small village, and then death rate was almost 0. So nobody took a vaccine. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah. I also agree with Raman that if we don't have to take a vaccination, definitely we should not take it. And if we want to find out more about it, like if I want to find out more about it before giving the vaccination to my son, I want to learn as much as I can about the vaccination and then make a decision. But then I don't have time to study each and every disease and each and every vaccination, right? And therefore, some things we do trust the experts. Like, for example, so they say like wear a seatbelt when you are driving in a car, or wear a helmet when you are going on a motorcycle, right? This is like we think it is common sense, everybody is following it, and therefore we do it. But if somebody argues saying that, okay, how many times
Babu, I took vaccination only because I have to travel to India. Else I would not have taken it.
Right.
So
Actually,
just an example.
What happened? Remember when we had a conversation on that time? I went and talked to my doctor.
Yeah.
He didn't give the solid 100% answer because I'm working in the front line. He's a warrior. He has to be seeing the patient. So I have to take it. If you want it, you take it. It's like he's not forcing me. It's like have a nice apple a day. It's like that.
Optional.
So,
yeah.
I got it.
Thanks for sharing your
But
reflection.
here, there was a similar situation where it said that in Andhra Pradesh, at least in Telangana at the time, there was a mandatory rule that says that everybody must wear a helmet who is riding a motorcycle, right? Because in India, it gets very hot and then your head is sweaty. People don't want to wear a helmet. But they are saying if you wear a helmet, it will protect your life. And therefore, they made it a rule saying that you have to wear a helmet. And then all kinds of criticism were said against the leaders, Chandrababu Naidu and all that, saying that, okay, his brother-in-law is having a motorcycle, he's having a helmet factory, and therefore he's promoting the helmet factory. That's why he is forcing us to wear a helmet. I don't want to wear a helmet. Why should the government tell me to wear a helmet? So they were arguing about wearing a helmet. Similarly, they are today arguing about wearing a seatbelt, saying that, okay, I don't want to wear a seatbelt. Nobody should force me to wear a seatbelt. And the government is saying, no, I will give you a ticket. I will give you a penalty. You have to pay a fine if you don't wear a seatbelt. So there will always be that argument saying that I don't want to wear a seatbelt. Who are you to tell me what to do? I don't want to wear a helmet. Who are you to tell me what to do? And things like that, right? So that will always be there. But what they are saying is that some things are beyond discussion. What they are saying is that you will get a penalty if you don't wear a seatbelt. If you will get a penalty if you don't wear a helmet, because they have gathered enough evidence to say that this will save lives. And if it's not just one person's disease, right? If it's a communicable disease, and
Babu,
one
I
person
think
gets it,
this
the whole
was
society will get affected.
no, Babu, this discussion will not go well.
I know.
I will be
So we
totally
have-
against all this. So,
Yeah.
but I'm like, I agree with you what you are saying, but I really don't agree with you. That's the thing.
That's okay.
one,
That's okay.
one, one,
Yeah,
That's the whole
we
point
have
of the
one
discussion.
point
I want
with questions.
No,
Sir,
one
just a minute.
quick
We
point
have
I
one.
want to make before
No.
Harshini that. Yes, sir, Elamaran, tell me.
Yeah, bro, just a minute. Harshini is waiting with the question, okay? Let us finish that first, okay? Then we can come back. Okay, Harshini, you can ask the question.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it
Yeah.
short since you were all
Yeah.
talking. I have a very bad network connection, so I was going off and on again, and I've been trying to come twice or thrice. So my raise of hand got lost. So actually, this is a book that was overlooked a lot. So Michael Lewis has written a lot of good books, and it is mostly about the generalization of people. He's also written about racism. There's a book called as Blind Side. So this part about, again, when it comes to vaccination, it's a very different topic because both like in our family on the whole, there are so many different perspectives we have when it comes to vaccination and something regarding it. But this book overall talked about the psychology that we all faced. So as a book, if we see, it has, according to my morals, there might be few differences.
You are muted, Harshini. You can unmute. Yeah.
If I get fever or something, like my dad will make sure, okay, only if it is in an unbearable state, I'll go for antibiotics. So because I want to let my own body heal, and that is how it runs. So as a book, it has a different, the way of writing, the way the terms were explained, the way it talked about the importance of what happened when an epidemic or a pandemic affects us was beautiful. And I also loved one point that Sir told, which he illustrated especially on, which was of plant-based diet and a whole foods diet, which has been a part of our culture for a very long time. So being because even in our home, they add Siraga Samba to the normal rice, make sure they add all these small elements so that the food becomes more healthy. And I can assure you that I'm comparatively more healthier than the people of my own age group because of the kind of food I consume and the amount of thoughts I have. So I think that point which Sir told, I really appreciate it because it is a very least talked about topic because of the sentiments it revolves around, because there are a lot of communities and a lot of people, groups of people, not in communities in general, groups of people who do not accept the thought about diet. My dad tells the same thing. அவங்க நான்வெஜ் சாப்பிட்றாங்கன்னா அது நீ இன்டர்ஃபியர் பண்ணாத, நீ ஏன் சாப்பிடணும்னு வேணா யூ ஸ்ட்ரெஸ் ஆன், டோன்ட் டெல் பீப்புள் யூ ஆர் நாட் சப்போஸ் டு டூ தட். So I think that point was very good because he told about the health perspective of it. So I really appreciate that. And it was overall because the book is a very underrated book. And about the vaccine things, there's a book called as Vaccine Free. I think everyone should read it once in a while because our body is not something to be trained, but it is something that is supposed to learn. So Sir also told about muscle memory. So our body has a memory to all the pathogens it is exposed to as well. So I think overall the morals might be different, but the review was overall very good. And the way the thoughts were expressed, the author's views, and I think more than our views, the way it was portrayed, the emotions of the book plays a major role about it. So this is what the morals might be different, but we really appreciate the way the book was portrayed in the review. Yeah, thank you. I'll try to keep it short.
Very good. Very so very, very valid points were raised. I agree that this writer, Michael Lewis, most of his books, like 2-3 books, have been made into movies. Blind Side is a very good book that you mentioned. Blind Side was also made into movie and it won the award also, the Best Actress Award for Sandra Bullock. So Blind Side was made into movie. Moneyball was made into movie. That book itself is a revolution in big data, because somebody who is not related to that field was able to use statistics and mathematics to make a difference, revolutionary ideas in the book called Moneyball. So they are saying the same thing. They are saying, like, artificial intelligence and software ideas or mathematics and statistics can be applied in medicine and in many other fields which are not related. So traditionally, people who are considered to be expert, these people who are outsiders, they came and they were able to make positive contributions. So Moneyball is one such book which was made into movie. Blind Side is another book that was made into movie. And then 2-3 other books.
Going Infinite also was talking about various aspects of cryptocurrency.
Yes.
Again, that was another interesting movie for someone who doesn't know anything about cryptocurrency. It was very illuminating for me personally. So I felt all his books create an impact.
Yes, and he is one of the best top writers, and he only writes about real events, not fictional events. Going Infinite is the book that was released 2 months back. So it's a very good book. He is one of the very good writers. Some people say that if he writes a history about stapler also, I will read it because he writes it in such a effective way about real life stories that have happened. And then the other thing, the point that Lakshmi was talking about, and also my friend Raman was talking about, is it is very important that we listen to the other side. We listen to the people who disagree with us. It's not important that everybody should agree with us, because what happens is, in our intellectual circles, it's like an echo chamber. We are only inside a chamber that keeps echoing our own thoughts and our own ideas. There is nothing that disagrees with us. So how to escape the echo chamber? And we are all in a mental echo chamber. That is, I'm talking about religion, I'm talking about Ramayana, I'm talking about... So everybody just repeats the whole thing. And then I only want to associate myself with those people who will agree with my ideas and then only talk about religion. I never want to listen to... Everybody is in this situation where they are guilty of not listening to the other side. So it is very important to listen to people who disagree with us, who may have different opinion than us. So that's why I encourage Lakshmi that, she disagreed with me. I encourage Raman that he disagreed with me, because this is the way that we can make sure that we are not inside the echo chamber that keeps echoing our own ideas. But it is important for us to listen to different opinions and people who disagree with us also.
Yeah, thanks, Rashmi. So today's session was very energetic. We have received a lot of information. Thanks for making the day. Thank you very much. Just quick information about the next week review. So the book name is The Other Einstein. It is going to be reviewed by Dr. Nirmala Kannan. It's a friend of Redmond. Okay, same time next week. So today's session is very useful, informative, and energetic. Lot of discussions, lot of information was shared. Thank you very much. Thank you for others who joined the discussions. Thank you. We'll meet on next week. Okay.